super saturated colors that's really hard to get by just gelling a standard strobe. So the trick now, bring our white balance down in post. So now in post, I can just come in here and get a white balance. So now we have more accurate skin tones, but we made the background go more deep foresty, tealish green. I had a late night and I don't feel like setting up a boom mic. So I'm just gonna hold this thing. Also, this is the deity mic and I'm pretty pumped about it. Anyways, the Nanlite Mixpanel 150 RGB WW. WW meaning just has like these bicolor LED white lights. Don't really quote me on that. I'm not a super technical person. But later in the video, I'm gonna show you guys a photo shoot that I did with it. I just have some iPhone footage, but we're gonna look at some files. And I'm gonna show you tricks that you could do with this light to either control, match, or manipulate the ambient light. Pretty much the same tricks that you could do with a strobe, which the strobe is really great. You get a lot of power out of it. But this thing, if you're in like lower light settings or more ambient lighting without any direct lighting, this thing can actually keep up if you're doing like portraiture type work. And the standard like CCT mode, that's just your standard white LEDs. You could do warmer lighting or cooler lighting, but there's something really cool about this. I'll switch it right here. There's this soft light mode. So basically I think what's happening from at least looking at it from the eye, it looks like there's LEDs that are being lined in like the rim of the light and it's being blasted into like this B-board inside of there. Pumps out this really soft, beautiful, here, let me turn it up a little bit too. And the standard hard light mode, this is great if you're going to be blasting light through a scrim or anything like that, or if you're just trying to get as much light as you can into a room for ambient fill and you're bouncing off the ceiling. But this is if you're more lighting a subject or something like that. This really came in clutch and you can still control your color temp with it. Let me turn it back down a little bit. Tint feature on here is what gets really cool because you're able to match your ambient tones on here. You see the first issue here is if you have the light turned down, it does not control the RGB lights. So once you start mixing in that tint and it's controlling the RGB lights, it won't match. But if I turn this up and I start doing the tint, you can see the tint is more subtle then. And so that's something that I feel like they could possibly fix in a firmware update. But again, that's just like one issue. But I mean, if you're shooting with this outdoors, you're most likely going to have this turned all the way up. You can see how freaking bright that is. And we'll go over that whole tint adjustment when we go over the photo shoot. Just a couple more things I want to cover before we get to that. Now, my most favorite mode is the Hsi mode. There's your hue, saturation, and intensity. You could basically just start shifting through all your different colors. What's really cool about this is you could put a gel on a strobe, but it never like has as much punch on it just because the saturation levels get kind of dropped. With this, you have full control on how saturated those colors look on your subject. You can just see how saturated that looks. Again, this is really hard to get that deep saturated look off a strobe, like gelling a strobe. Stop looking at the monitor cam. And then last, you just have your standard effects mode. You can see we just have a hue loop, we have a flash mode, we have a pulse mode, we have a storm, you have a cop car mode. Anyways, let's jump into the fun part now, the photo shoot. All right, just real quick, I just want to show you guys what the Hsi mode you can do. You can just get like these funky, really super saturated colors that's really hard to get by just gelling a standard strobe. But the main thing I want to talk about is matching the ambient color. The sun setting right here, you have hard light over here. I put her in the shade and you can see how underexposed she is compared to the hard light. So we could blast some light on her. And that's pretty safe. That looks totally fine. And then here's another one that's unedited, but you can just see the color temp on her is perfectly fine. The background's a lot warmer than her. We have like bluish ambient tones hitting a little bit back here. And then this is it edited. Now her outfit looks like she should be in the cold. With this warm summer sunset in the mountain, it's not really matching the outfit. I like it. We have creative freedom to just go ahead and move forward with that. But say if you wanted to cheat it and make it look like it was actually a colder type of day. Yeah, you can edit it like that, but it takes more work. This is the same shot, but now I have the white balance and the light turned up to be super warm. It's even warmer than actual sunset you see hitting the trees back here. So the trick now, bring our white balance down in post and basically match it to where you want daylight color tones on her skin kind of. And now you can see it makes it look like a way colder day. This is with my edit on here. I'm just using one of my presets. I will put the link in the description if you guys want to check those out. But you see, it's just a totally different vibe. Again, I think this looks totally fine, but if you wanted to go for a colder look, you could do this. We could start messing with our blues a little bit more, desaturate them. We could pump up our greens a little bit more. And there you see it's looking a little bit more natural, but it's just a really nice way to cheat that. I did have the light in the soft light mode too. I will go over a tip on that here in a second. I didn't turn the white balance all the way up on the light, but I wanted to try to match it to the sunset light hitting her. Now you just see the sun giving her a warm rim light. And then I put the mix panel light to the left of the camera just to make it look like the sun was wrapping around her. And you can see that's what we get. And then if you want to go in and cool that tone off in your edit, you see you get this really like deep blue, cold look, but there's still kind of like this warmish type of fill on it. Now let's just warm this up just so you can see. I'd probably keep it like this because I want it to look more, a little bit more cozy for that. And then this shot right here, I had the mix panel over here and it's just hitting her back here, just like backlighting her a little bit. When the sun sets on a mountain like this, the light gets very bland and cold. It's really hard to shoot in to create volume and shape out of it. And the color overall just will look very flat. It's like a cold steel type look. So what I did on here, let's just reset our white balance real quick. So we'll do daylight for that and we'll reset my tint. You can see I pushed the tint on the light to a little bit magenta. You can see the background here, there's not a whole lot of color going on in the background. So now in post, I can just come in here and get a white balance. So now we have more accurate skin tones, but we made the background go more deep foresty, tealish green. This is the whole point of this light, is being able to match the ambient and manipulate it so you can further increase the mood that you're trying to get. So I did the opposite for this one. Now, I'll admit I messed up on this. If you're going to do something like this, you need to make sure that the light's really on them. Otherwise, you're gonna get mixed lighting like this, where we have some daylight mixing in with the green tint on the light. For this one, it didn't work out as well, but the whole point of me making the tint of the light green is because I want to push the background even more purple to match that sunset. When it's all edited and the white balance is corrected, this is what you get. You get this super romantic, deep purple kind of look. But yeah, let's just bring down the highlights real quick on here. And let's lower exposure, contrast up. So again, all this is edited with my presets. And there we go. We got a little bit more of a deep romantic look. But you see, since I did mess up, we're still having a little bits of mixed lighting on her. So that's something I would have to address when I go in and retouch. So you have to make sure if you're going to do that, that the light is on them like this. Why did I shoot this at 1250 ISO and 1000 shutter? I could have dropped my ISO down to like at least 300 to shoot this if I was paying attention. We were kind of in this muck, and so making sure the light was gonna fall. But yeah, guys, that's all I pretty much want to share about this real quick. Again, I've only had this light for like 3 or 4 days now, so I'm really excited to use it on an upcoming music video, plus all the other Nanlite stuff that I've gotten my hands on. So stay on the lookout for that. Slowly be pumping out more review videos and kind of like tricks and tip kind of hacks that you could do for photography and videography with these lights. Keep checking back in for those. That's it. Peace.